So they want to like get rid of talking about slavery in the African American History Museum. That in itself doesn't even make sense. But you know what's even crazier? They're actively removing slavery from being talked about in these museums while putting up Confederate statues in DC. How the fuck does that even make sense? We don't want to talk about the pain that slavery caused because it makes white people feel bad. But look, we're going to put up this Confederate statue that they fought to keep slavery. What? That doesn't make y'all feel bad? How y'all? What? What they want the museum to be if it's not going to talk about black struggle? Because black people's whole existence in this country is struggle. You can't even talk about something like sports without mentioning struggle. They didn't just let black people play sports. No, they realized, hey, we need these Negroes because they are the best athletes, and that's how we win. And that's how we make money because people want to see them perform. Entertainment, music, same thing. Movies, same thing. They realize, hey, these people put people in seats. Maybe we should have them. Maybe we should compensate them. Now, are these people getting compensated at what they rightfully earned? Absolutely not. That's why in the black sports, there's a salary cap. There is a cap on how much money they can make. Not in baseball. Not in baseball. A white dominated sport. Getting rid of talking about slavery is so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me because it makes white people feel bad. That's the only reason you are getting rid of it, because it makes white people feel bad. Saying, oh, this country's great history and that's what you want displayed. You can do that, but you can't just get rid of talking about slavery. We talk about it too much. We don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about it enough. How black people went from being slaves, then laws immediately were put in place where black people can buy houses, get education, can do simple shit, vote, like immediately. Black people weren't given this equal rights that after slavery ended. Black people were still being lynched. That was still legal. They were still allowed to do that. The Civil Rights Act is what, 1965? 65. My parents were born 5 years later. My grandma was born in 1930. We have firsthand accounts of these goddamn stories of what people went through. You could erase the history out the museum, but we literally have these people who went through these things that we can talk to. Literally. And the history that y'all are telling us is not actually what's happening. It was 20 times worse. They always talk about slavery and they give us the sugar-coated version of what slavery was. Like old boy said in that video, they used to eat us. That part never gets talked about. They used to eat us. Not because they were starving. No, because they were hungry and they could for the love of the game. Because they are terrible. And unfortunately, white people, your history in America is exactly that. Taking over land, killing people, colonizing. Shit, your history throughout the world, really. But we're going to talk about just America. Colonization is your fucking history. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind that they are able to do this. As somebody too, like, I minored in Africana Studies, and if I can go back to college, I would probably major in Africana Studies. Like, I was just taking classes just to take classes because I enjoyed the shits. And the stuff that I found out was way worse than what they told us during school. Like, they made slavery seem like they just took these people and they just hit them a few times. Some people died. No, that's not what it was. It was 30 times worse than what the fuck they told us. And I'm sorry, because their little white tears can't handle that. They can't handle having to explain to their kids that the fortune that their family has comes from slavery. I'm sorry. That just seems a little weak-minded to me, because these black kids got to go through school and they got to hear this shit too. So now these black kids are going to get this dumbed down definition of what slavery actually was, and they're going to be like, how did it impact my people? When they talk about the kids are learning this, the kids are learning this, and the kids are feeling bad, what they really mean is the white kids are going to feel bad. And we don't want our little sons and daughters to feel bad. They could give two fucks about what little Jamal feels like. They do not care. They do not care that they're teaching that black kid that slavery is better than dying. They could have just died, as if freedom wasn't an option. Can you imagine telling people about the Holocaust and saying, like, well, being in those camps was better than dying? That's so insane. That's so insane. Or even 9/11, or in any tragedy that happens in history, and you just saying, oh, the other option, you could have just died. So at least this happened. That is insane. That is insane. And they are literally making it seem like, well, slavery was the law. So even though I'm against slavery, it was the law during that time. What? Part of me wants to go back to school and teach history, because I'm not going to teach the history that they have in them books. I don't care what they have in them books. When we get to that chapter that they going to have the kids read in February, because you know how they do, they're going to learn the real history of slavery. They're going to have to do a real research project if it was me. And I don't care how their parents feel, because I'm going to be tenured. I think that it's insane if you're comfortable with your kids learning the fucked up history that happens to every people, but then when it comes to slavery, when it comes to stuff that white people have done to black kids, you're not comfortable with that. But you're totally fine with your kid learning about the Holocaust. You're totally fine with your kids learning about the Boston Massacre. But you don't want them to know what the Civil War was actually fought over? That's a little weird. And I do have a lot to say on this topic. And this is a longer video. And frankly, I don't care if people watch it all the way through or listen all the way through. I don't care. This is my place to vent. It is a little disheartening to see the history of my people getting stripped away slowly. The stuff that people have fought for being ripped away, and people voted. They voted for this. They voted for this. And I know I get on here and I'm jokey and all that type of stuff, and I be talking about people's daughters sitting that thing on my face, and their daughter still can do that. And I'll probably get back to jokey. But a part of me is dying watching all of this stuff happen. A part of me, the little part of me that believed that, oh, maybe one day America would get it right, is dying. They're literally stripping every right away. They're stripping it away. And they're going to strip the interracial marriages, and that's what we're probably going to see people actually lose their mind, which is going to be hilarious for me. Let's see how Clarence Thomas actually votes on that one. But it's insane how backwards we are going. We are literally going backwards. And there are people who are like championing this because they see what's happening. The white race is dying. It's dying. Just because they're going to force people to not be able to get abortion and stuff like that, it's not going to change the fact that your little white daughter likes him, the guy who's the star quarterback on the team, named Deshaun. It is the weirdest shit in a country that we are putting up Confederate statues, celebrating the losers. We are putting these statues up. The statues got put up, mind you, after the war, after they lost. But then we are the same country that is telling people that we should not talk about slavery. But we are putting Confederate statues up. You cannot make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. And I know that I am smarter than a lot of people think. And I don't be coming on flexing on people like I easily could. I know I'm a hood dude. I know exactly who I am. But people gotta wake the fuck up. They gotta wake up.